We are.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Power Skill, not Power Skills. Oh my God. What is it? Welcome to Power Skills for Success. Exactly. That's my podcast. Welcome to Chew on This. Chew on This. And Power Skills. Yeah. You know why I said that. I am going to post a new episode on Power Skills for Success. And I've been like working on the episode all morning and all these power skills conversations and power skills, like the topic around power skills completely took over my brain.
Yes, and what is really cool is in Chew on This, you will have to showcase your power skill of debate today, Anna.
Yes, well, yeah, just like you, Vlada.
Just like me,
I'm
but I'm prepared to give in. I'm already prepared to
Are
give
you
in.
prepared to give in? You don't look like a person who is prepared to give in easily, I can tell you. I would say that I like if I think about you and I would say that I'm going to be the first one to give in. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
we'll see.
Actually, before we dive into the topic of today's discussion, tell me about your relationship with the victories and failures. Like what's your winning situation? Is it really easy for you to give in, or you just said that?
It's really interesting. I think I've been actually thinking about it quite a bit recently, and I think one of the things I found is that I tend to avoid conflict, right? And so I think that's one area where I'm looking to grow. But I think
So
there
you
is
want to be more confrontational now,
more confrontational,
more
but
aggressive.
kind of defending my turf, my ground, if you will. But I think there is a balance, right? I think I really love this phrase where you want to win a war, right? Not a battle, right? And so I think that it's always important to put it in perspective, right? And we all go through, you know, small and large conflict opportunities, right, on a daily basis. And I think I always, I in those areas I would tend. Oh, there's a conflict right there. Look at this.
This is an opportunity, Lana. That's your opportunity to go and exercise your arguing skills,
Arrogance,
if you
but
will.
can you please keep quiet for the next 15-20 minutes?
Well, wait a second. Wait a second. That wasn't aggressive. You can do better. That wasn't aggressive. Can you
Well,
please keep quiet?
yeah, we can please keep quiet. Well, they're doing work for me, so that's fine. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting conversation, and I also increasingly believe in energy, right? And the question is, okay, I know I can win a certain situation or certain argument, but is it worth surrounding myself with this negative energy, right? And I know a lot of people, which doesn't really sit well with my values specifically for my life. I want to go and make a bigger impact and make more money and whatnot, rather than arguing over, I don't know, $300 bill, even if I know that if I spend the next year debating it, perhaps I will win. But I don't think that's a battle that I want to win, because I have a different war
Okay, so
to
you are
participate in,
a warrior. So you take part in wars, not battles.
not
Well,
battles.
battlefields are not interesting. Like wars are more, yeah. Because I think that when we think about war, you have to strategize, right?
Right,
So
exactly. You'll have to, yeah, and I think that
it's like the next level of battling.
I think so. How about you, Anna?
To be honest, I don't like to fight. Um, but on a personal note, my life has been a fight pretty much. That's why I don't like to fight.
Mhm.
And I can say that in this era of my life, in this stage of my life, I would be like willing to give in faster than before. Faster than before, because, like I said, I didn't realize that you don't really have to fight to live. It's just like, we all have our background stories. We all come from different place. And, I also have my story. I'm not ready to tell it right now. But yeah, but, life has been tough. Life has been tough, I can say. But like I said, I that's why I made this comment that I would be willing to give in probably faster than you. I don't know, because I just don't want to fight, neither on a battlefield nor in a war. So yeah, just more amicably, I would say.
Right, but I think and we will eventually get to our topic. So thank you for bearing with us. I think what is really cool, and I think that is very true in a team dynamic, right? When you run a team, the worst thing you can do is to have everyone share the same opinion, right? You're
Oh
the
yeah, that's
board.
100%.
You showed up and you said, guys, we're gonna build this product, right? Or we're gonna focus on this customer. And then everyone is silent and says, oh my God, you are so smart. Yes, exactly. We're gonna go this way and there is no other way, right? Like this is the worst because first of all, you're not enriching the solution, and you just have a lot of kind of yes man people, right? I think it was so instrumental to me growing my business is I had people fighting with me, not fighting with me,
Disagreeing,
but
disagreeing,
disagreeing,
yeah.
right? But I think that's actually like this whole, maybe we do a separate conversation about this art of
We
conflict.
should. We
This
should.
is
I really love this because I felt the same about my team. I always appreciated that, I always felt respect, of course, from my team, as a
yeah,
senior. Like I
right,
always felt leader.
right,
But I was really fascinated that throughout the whole journey, they were never afraid to speak up, never
right,
afraid to say, like, even, like, you as a founder, you have the superiority because you created this idea and you started
right,
building around it, and whenever you're like coming up with something like, hey, let's do this, and then they're like, maybe no, but because this and that, I was like, wow, I really appreciate it. And that's like one of the, yeah. But then again, here we're not talking about fighting, we're talking about really intelligent, I don't know, conversation, disagreement. The way here we talk
right.
about another power skill, Vlada, the power skill of giving your feedback, and
Mhm.
specifically giving your constructive negative feedback. And
Right,
as part of the team, that's a very important skill to have, especially when you have to reject your senior manager, founder, whatever, whoever,
right.
idea or comment. So anyway, back to MVPs, to MVP or not to MVP, that is a big question.
Yeah.
Are you taking the which side are you taking?
Well, I see both sides, and you seem to be in a spicy mode today, so I'll let you argue not to MVP. And there are actually quite a growing number of people, right? And I think some of the visionaries who do sit in that camp to not MVP. So I am
Yeah.
offering you
Yes,
to
thank
take
you.
the non.
The floor is mine, as far as I understand, and thank you, Vlada, for saying, for aligning me with those visionaries right away. All
Right.
right, and yeah,
I'm
so
sweetening the pill.
sweeter in the pill. Okay, that's funny. Um, so my very first comment regarding MVP is the quality, right? Is the quality that obviously a lot of times when people want to create their MVPs, they will create something that is such low quality that, well, it's obvious customers or users are not going to like it, because like this is not even close to the product that you have in mind. But because the whole thing about MVP is that it has to be very simple, it has to be like having like one feature, blah blah blah. Like if you want to go beyond that, that's not an MVP, right? You're like you're gonna end up building something bigger, investing more than you have, or you want to spending more time, etc. So that is why this is the quality issue. And what can happen, you're gonna spend, maybe you might not spend a lot of time building this MVP, but it's gonna be useless. So you're gonna end up wasting more time than you should have wasted, right? And you have the product or the app that or whatever that nobody needs, and actually that ruins your reputation, even ruins your idea, ruins your reputation, and it doesn't work, or it works but it doesn't translate the idea that you have. So what I think, instead of building an MVP, what you can do, you can sell the idea, right? So you can attract, you can create a user base around the idea without the MVP. It's like, you sell something before you
Building a
create it.
community before you have the
For
product.
example, in my case, when I started, I wasn't selling the product, I was selling my service, right? So when I had the idea to create a course, what I did everything I had to do as if I already had this course, because I wanted to gauge the interest. And it was like, okay, I have 100 applicants, 100 people applied. They said they were interested. They filled out the application. They said they were interested to take this course. It means that I have 100 people interested. It means that 50% will probably buy it, or whatever. Well, I think
That's quite optimistic, but yeah.
the rule of thumb is like 50% usually. Well, it depends on the price too. But in my case, I don't know, maybe my service was really good. But yeah, so it was like around that number. That is why I believe that that's the MVP you need.
Yeah, that's a great point, Anna. And I think there is really a great blueprint for service transitioning into product, right? Or productizing a service in a way, right? And I think your example is amazing. I know a number of folks in, even financial services. Maybe they were a financial advisor and they were using a number of tools on the back end to provide the financial advisory service. Then they were able to leverage that and sort of productize that service. The same applies to accounting or a variety of other areas where first you lead with human, right, and you sell your hours, but then you really take and that could be a gradual process, right? You kind of take more and more of that to the point when it doesn't require really the service. So I think that's a great blueprint. I think my counter argument to um, sort of MVP and why I think MVPs are important is I think that there is a lot of talk about what they should be, right? And I think it's really hard to kind of get it right because I love the term, for example, minimum lovable product to address your concern about sort of just putting out there in the world something that just is not good at all, right? And so I think how what lovable means depends on the category. So for example, if you are in a very competitive category where your whole value is that you're going to do 5 times better something that's already done, and you roll out something that's on par with competitors that have already large market share, well, your MVP is not going to show you much because you're not really delivering on that value, right? On the contrary, if you are blessed with a problem that is so important to customers and there is no sort of existing solution to that problem, right? It's they're wasting a lot of time, money, or whatever else sort of is the pain, the source of pain. Then your MVP requirements can be much smaller because it means that they just can't meet that need, and they're doing it manually, and it causes them tremendous pain currently, right? And so I think that's the key. Is I think what that MVP should be depends really on the context of the market and the context of the customer. And of course, the more painful the problem is, the smaller your MVP can be, because they're just not, there is no matched or no met need right now in the marketplace.
Actually, Vlada, that would be silly for me not to use the idea that you just gave me against MVPs, right? The
Okay, go
competition.
ahead. Go
The
ahead.
competition, yeah, the competition. Well, maybe I'm not so easily given. I don't give in so easily as I thought in a debate. So the competition. Imagine you are launching a premature product. What does your even if they don't have the bigger share, right? Even if it's just like, I don't know, you have equal shares or whatever, the share of the market is not really important here. It's just like you're releasing a premature product and your competition, they see it. So of course, if they are building around, like in the same area, that they're building the same niche around the same idea, they will understand where I mean where you hinting at, right? So they will see this your idea, and they will have an opportunity to build something better, maybe faster. Again, depending on, like you said, if they have a bigger market share, this is definitely something, you have to be careful, you have to be careful about. But on the other hand, I mean, I don't want to, contradict myself here, but we have cases where even, yeah, yesterday I was at the founders lunch, and I was sitting next to a founder who is building something that supposedly Amazon should have, but they don't have it. And he has it, and he's a startup. He was like, yeah, I was freaking out, building this, because like everyone's like, why wouldn't Amazon do this? And he's like, I don't know why, but they don't do this. And yeah, so anyway, that's another thing. You remember, so that's the competition. So you have to be dependent on the where you are in the market, and who your competitors are. Your MVP might be something that you don't want to build, just
Yeah.
not to give them that idea.
All right. And I love your argument because it's very easy to destroy. Why
Go for
would you?
it. All right,
Oh,
go.
but it's a beautiful argument. And what I found, practically speaking, is I was in the market with classic with free products. I could go and sign up for any product, right? See everything there is to see, experience it, invite my whole development team, and we can use it all day long for free, right? You can get a lot of, right, kind of nuts and bolts and what it does. And certainly we've done it with our competitors, they've done it with us, right? That's just like a normal, but it
You were like
doesn't
first adopters for each other.
for each other. I know,
early
like first
early
and only
adopters for each
user.
other. Who are these users? My first 10 users, they were my competitors.
But the interesting, I guess, insight is that people just don't change and adjust and immediately going into your way of doing. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because if you are an experienced founder, you are saying, whatever my competition is doing, the only thing that matters is what my customers are saying, right? And even if they're bigger and they've been around for longer, the whole point is that you're going to take them over and you're going to grow faster than they've grown and take market share from them. So why would I can take some things that I like and I think make sense, but generally speaking, people don't course correct because they don't know yet that whatever you're doing, yes, when you get to a certain point of scale, let's say if it's clear that you're killing your competition, then they would say, oh, wait a minute, let's in your Amazon, you say, let me put a little department of 100 people to go and tackle this problem that's emerging, right? But by then you need to be big enough, right? We are talking about kind of the start. And I think it almost honestly, what MVP is, or services is, as you pointed out, is the fastest way to learn, right? So I think depending on your starting point, and maybe that's our middle ground, how everyone can win in this argument, Anna.
Wait. I'm not ready. I have more arguments.
I'm the peacemaker here. But I think it's all about the speed of learning, right? And at the end of the day, when you are in market as a service provider or with your MVP, you get to learn. You get to observe the behavior with your service or product. You get that feedback. Now they're leveraging this and they're like, well, it doesn't really solve my problem, or this is really not convenient, or whatever that is, whatever specific feedback you're looking for. But you are in market and you start feeling um, kind of being in that space. It's so hard to innovate when you are not in the space. And that's why a lot of people talk about founder market fit, right? And goes back to sort of your approach to developing it, because you really need to be in tune with the market and your target customers to really know and understand deeply their problems.
Very interesting. So I have a question before I continue with my comment, Vlada.
All
So
right.
did you launch as an MVP, or did you launch as a product already, like that users could use, and it served the original idea, it served the original purpose? Was
Yeah,
classic.
it's a great question, and I think in classic we had a particular problem because, and I don't think it's so uncommon. So the cool story about it, right? So the way we saw the market at the time was teachers were using 5 to 6 different tools to collaborate with parents, right? It would be, maybe something like WhatsApp or Remind app to text back and forth. It would be scheduling app for volunteers or parent teacher conferences. It would be fundraising app of some other kind, right? So the like newsletter service, email, right? So it was a hodgepodge of tools. And so the way we wanted to solve the problem we saw is really unified communication, a single front where a parent can receive communication in a modality and language they prefer. So every parent and teacher can become a partner that every student needs to succeed, right? And so, but that vision was a grand vision, right? It's huge. It in
Yeah.
fact took us 5 years to build the full portfolio and of what we wanted to build. So if we waited 5 years to build this whole unified system, we would have never gotten there, right? So what we did instead was saying, okay, what is a specific use case? What is the specific workflow between parents and teachers that we want to tackle first? And how can we sort of signal the value? How can we really create something that's much more delightful than the experience today? And so we actually chose activities management, parent teacher conference signups and events. And even though later we became a communications platform, communication was the second act for us. So we started from activities management and automating all the reminders, right? And so for us, that was an MVP, was tackling one specific area, but getting their sort of the brains, getting the automation that other apps and solutions lacked, to get us foot in the door. And in fact, that what kind of propelled our early growth was because more parents started showing up to events than in a classroom next door. And teachers said, what's going on? Well, it's like, well, I'm using ClassTag. And they're like, oh, I want to use it too because I want more parents to show up. Right. So
Interesting.
yeah, but it was a specific area, and it was honestly really hard to decide which one, right? Because if you see this holistic solution, it kind of requires all the pieces, but it's a huge mistake building out the whole thing before going to market, because first of all you're going to run out of money before you ever see the light of day, and two is you're not getting feedback. So we would have never built the advanced
Yeah.
and easy to use solution if we were not listening to our customers, not getting feedback.
I'm glad that I don't know such details, because we didn't know each other when you were building it 8 years ago, right? Because I'm hearing this right now, so I can give my feedback, and
Mhm.
our listeners are lucky because they can hear they can hear this feedback firsthand too. From what you said, it sounds to me that you didn't build an MVP. It sounds to me that you built a product that solved a particular problem at that time, and you picked this problem to be solved first for your users than the many other problems that you envisioned originally,
Right.
and that was the right move for you. And the reason why I think you didn't have MVP with this is because it served it's like it was a complete product. It served its purpose, it solved the
Right.
problem, and even if you didn't add that other feature that kind of
It was
made
still
your
useful.
product,
It
it
was
was
useful.
still it was viable, but it was minimum, right? It was
Right.
viable, yeah, so it was a minimum. So that is why I feel like it wasn't exactly so, because like here is my the argument that I wanted to run by you. How about users getting burned out waiting for that, like for the features that you promise them? Because when you launch MVP, technically you tell users, we have this, but we're gonna have more. And like, they have to test your, like, give you feedback, test your product, but then, like, they just get burned out. That is why I feel like, when I listening to your answer, I'm like, okay, I feel like users were not realizing that there
There is
is like
more.
some
Yeah.
bigger thing. There is a bigger, not even more, but like a bigger thing, right?
Right.
Because MVP, like, yeah, so that's like, yeah. But so if you think about this, I don't know. But then again, what is MVP, right? What are we, how do people see MVPs? Again, to me, MVP, like the word MVP kind of carries more negative connotations than positive at this point, because probably because of so many companies, founders, startups failed to provide their users with the MVP that works and solves the problem. So, for example, if
Right.
everyone was providing MVPs that you had, right, that solved the problem, served its purpose, and users were happy, users were even happier when you were like throwing new features at them, so I think that would be like a different case. But because there's so many failures around MVPs, it kind of carries more of a negative connotation. So what about user burnout? What can you say?
I think that's depending on the market, it's a real problem, right? So let's say if you're serving Fortune 500 companies, well, guess what? You have 500 customers to serve. If you get the first three and give them a really bad experience, well, that's not great, right? And that news gotta travel fast. And the same for us once we started working with school districts, right? Again, there is like 8,000 of them in the country. It's not an unlimited list of customers, right? Especially if you're looking at specific states, they do talk, right? They talk. So you have to be you know much more careful if you're dealing with a small pool of customers, especially those that are connected through associations and network. You have to be more careful, specifically if you're dealing with financial data or some other sensitive data. Like, you just can't really hack a lot of things. It can be really dangerous, beyond just the MVP not working out. But if you are dealing with kind of a low stakes consumer problem, I think you want to get out there fast. But I think what you are talking about MVP, and I think the mistake that I'm seeing a lot of founders making is they ask the customer what to build. That's not the right way to go about MVP. Customers can be they're not entrepreneurs and not founders, right? I know this question is like, if you had a magic wand, what would you build, like, to solve your problem?
Or you,
It's like,
I think you have to say the Henry Ford's famous
yeah,
quote, right? If I ask customers what they wanted, they said it was a horse.
right, faster horse. Yeah, exactly, a faster horse, not a car. And the same, recently I was talking to Melissa Kwan of eWebinar, and she talked about movie producers are not asking the audience about, which movie would you like to see, right? They produce a movie, and then you go to movie theater, to Netflix or wherever you get your movies, and you watch a movie, right? Having said that, they receive that there is a ton of analytics that goes into early days, and sort of which topic and which actors. And that's not my area of expertise, but I imagine they're using a lot of um, data. But again, it's coupled with your uh, it's about solving the need as opposed to asking what to build, right? So I think that if your approach to building an MVP is asking your customers like what solution you want, that's not an MVP. MVP comes from deeply understanding the most painful problem where you can enter into the customer's world and the problem that they're willing to pay to solve for the value you deliver, right? And so that, I think, is the other thing, is like, if your MVP is not solving a problem, then why do they need it, right? So it has to solve some problem. It can be a small problem.
It has to be a hook. It's best if
Exactly.
it is a hook. Then again,
Yes.
here we're talking about marketing too, right? Because you want your users to stay with you with this MVP. Because
Right.
sometimes I tested some apps and I'm like, I mean, there is nothing, like, there is nothing, like, I don't want to stay here. But if there was like only one thing that, like, I don't know, even, you know, we moved to Riverside app just for the one thing. Guess what? StreamYard now has it too.
Oh
But they
yeah,
had,
I'm
yeah, but they
moving
had
up.
it,
I like to have others.
they had it later, but they had it later, right? I mean, you see, like, that's like the user mentality. We should probably talk about user mentalities more. But I actually wanted to, I don't know if is there a winner, guys? Please, if you're watching this live or not, well, in the recording, who is the winner of this debate? Because like, I don't want to be the one making the decision, Vlad. I don't want you to be the one making the decision either,
Oh, it's
because
a
I know
losing
you're gonna
show.
choose
It's
you.
fine.
You're gonna choose you.
We'll choose each other. I think we'll choose.
Yeah, but let's have our viewers decide who won this debate. But you know, when you were talking about your webinar, you said you had a webinar with Melissa Kwan, and you discussed some. What is the webinar? I
Absolutely. Well,
missed it.
I love that. Well, so I recently relaunched the podcast series, which is called Tech Startup Elevator, to coincide with Elevator Lab, which is a mentorship program for founders. And there I get to interview amazing founders, exited founders, serial entrepreneurs, investors, to bring their practical insights to elevate founders and their journey and debunk some myth. It's quite unfiltered and really cool. And I invite you guys to check them out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts. You can just look it up by my name, Vlada Lotkina, or Elevator Tech Startup Elevator with an 8.
I love this. I love this. Yeah, guys, make sure you check Vlada's feed on LinkedIn. You can find it there too. You
Yeah.
broadcast them on LinkedIn as well, right? Your
Yes, I
pod,
do.
your
I usually do. Yes, I don't give a big advance notice. That's something I'm, as a true,
working on.
a
It's a
good
power skill you
communicator.
need to. It's a power skill you need to acquire.
Yes, planning ahead. But yeah, it was a lovely conversation. I love how every time we found more topics. I love the idea of kind of team dynamics and sort of how to arrive at a better result as a team, right? I think that's
Let's talk team. Let's talk team. Next Thursday, let's have a topic around team spirit. I don't know. Let's
yeah,
ask
I think it's like
ChatGPT
a
how to frame it
better
better.
yeah, exactly, better outcome as a team.
Yeah.
Um and absolutely. And it's
To
funny,
team or not to team?
to team or not to team, exactly.
Yeah.
um Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for joining and spending your lunch hour, after lunch hour, with us and with Chew on This. I have amazing partner in crime Anna here, and I'm Vlada, and have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll see you next Thursday at
Same
1
time, same
p.m.
place.
Same time, same place.
Thanks, Vlada. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.